All right, so happy Tuesday. So you're gonna open up this Google slide. Make sure that you right click and open in a new tab, otherwise you can't access it. So every time, do it every single time. Okay. All right, here's what you're working on today. So name that power. So let's see what we remember about the rules of exponents. Again, most of the stuff should be a refresher, but again, if it's not, that's okay. We're learning it for the first time, I guess. All right, so for this one, if I had 3 2s and 4 2s, how many 2s do I have in total? That's 7. So that would mean that I would have 2 to the 7th power. So this is the product rule. So that means that if you're multiplying by the same base, then you're going to add the exponents. Okay. Here, if I have 2 2s and I'm doing that 3 times, how many 2s do I have? Well, that's 6. So that would be 2 to the 6th power. So that means that if you have a power raised to a power, that means you're going to multiply. So power raised to power, you're going to multiply. Okay. If we have 6 2s divided by 2 2s, I can cancel things out. How many am I left over with? 4. So that means that if I'm dividing, I'm going to subtract the exponents. Okay. All right. So, and again, you can pause this video at any point in time if you need to take a second to write that stuff down. All right. So what we've got is we're going to revisit just a few additional exponent rules. So these are things that you've seen in the past. So if you have something raised to the 3rd power, you're going to raise that 2 to the 3rd power and that x to the 3rd power. And the reason why is because of those parentheses. So this would be 2 to the 3rd power, which is 8, and x to the 3rd is just x to the 3rd. Okay. If I take something and I raise it to the 3rd power and it's divided by, that means that I'm going to take each piece and raise it to the 3rd power. One thing that we often forget, this little one right here, if we raise something to the 0 power, that's always going to equal 1. If you ever forget, just plug it into your calculator, you'll get 1. This one right here, we've got a negative exponent. That means that I'm going to flip the fraction. So right now this is 2 over 1. So if I have to the negative first, that means that I'm going to have 1/2. Okay.
You're early today.
I am, because I have to record for, sorry about that. All right. So Claire said, I know that I have 9 to the 2nd equals 9 times 9, and 9 to the 1st equals 9. 9 to the 0 equals 1. I wonder what 9 to the 1/2 means. Well, first she graphed y equals 9 to the x. What would be an estimate for 9 to the 1/2 power? Well, 9 to the 1/2 power would be roughly in here somewhere, right? Okay, so we know that 9 to the 2nd is 9 times 9. 9 to the 1st is 9. 9 to the 0 is 1. Okay, so 9 to the 1/2 is going to be roughly, actually, it's going to be right in here. Sorry, that's a little bit more defined. So that would be roughly 3. Okay, Claire decides that using the exponent rule, she can confirm her thinking. So 9 to the 1/2, if we're saying that's 3, and 9 to the 1/2, that's 3. What's 3 times 3? 9. Well, 9 to the 1/2 times 9 to the 1/2 is 9 to the 1st, right? And that's the same thing as 9. So for that to be true, 9 to the 1/2 would be 3. Basically, what I want you to get from this is the fact that 9 to the 1/2 is the same thing as taking the square root of 9. Same thing, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and look at the next one. Diego saw Claire's work and said, now I'm wondering what 4 to the 1/2 is. Again, he graphed. What do you think the expected value would be? Well, I already told you it's the same thing as taking the square root, so that would be 2. He decided to use another exponent rule to test his value. What did he get? So 4 to the 1/2, if we're saying it's 2, then 2 to the second power would be 4. And we know from our exponent rules, if we take 1/2 and multiply it by 2, that would give us 4 to the first power, which is just 4. So 4 to the 1/2 would be 2. All right, so what does this mean? So how can we transfer this thinking into raised power to the 1/2? All I want you to get is that the square root is the same thing as taking something and raising it to the 1/2 power. Okay. Using the exponent rules in your understanding of roots to find the exact value. Okay, so take a couple minutes and work these out. You can use a calculator if you need to. Some of these won't simplify into like perfect numbers. Some of them will be decimals, so you want to leave them in radical form. So I would pause and try these on your own, and then I'm going to talk about them. All right, so this would give me 5 when I take the square root of 25. This would give me the square root of 15. Well, that's not going to give me a whole number. So we're going to leave this guy like this. Don't know what y is, so that would just give me the square root of y. Now here they've changed it up a little bit. If I plug 8 to the 1/3 in my calculator, I get 2. Okay, so when you're typing this in your calculator, you're going to hit 8, the little caret button, and you're going to say parentheses 1 divided by 3, and that's it. Okay. You can also type this into Desmos. That's fine too. And then 2 to the 1/3 power. Okay. Actually, this doesn't simplify like into a whole number. So we're going to say the cubic root of 2. We're just going to leave it like that. Now, the reason why this little 3 is inside this little cubby hole, well, with your square roots, what's going to happen is when you take the square root of something, there's actually a 2 written right here. Okay. But since we use it so frequently in math, mathematicians are lazy sometimes, and so they like to leave off the normal things. Okay. So I want you to get some practice in. Okay. And basically for each row, circle or shade 2 expressions that are equivalent. Okay, so for instance, in row 1, what you're going to do is you're going to pick the 2 that are the same. So for instance, that would be 7 to the 1/2 and the square root of 7. Okay, so you're going to do that for all these other rows. Go ahead and pause the video and try it on your own. And then I'll have the answers in just a second. And this one, and this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. Okay, so those should have been your answers. Remember, if it has a negative exponent, it's going to flip over to the bottom. Okay. All right, write it 2 ways. So write a solution to the equation x squared equals 5 2 ways, using exponents and using radicals. Okay, so I'm going to write it using exponents first. So this would be, if I took the square root of both sides, okay, that would be x equals positive and negative square root of 5. That would be the radical way. I could also say x equals positive and negative 5 raised to the 1/2 power. Okay, so those are the exact same thing. Now, number 2, write using exponents. So this is the same thing as saying 78 raised to the 1/3 power. Okay, make sure that you use your parentheses. Otherwise, that causes problems later on. Okay, so going back to today's stuff, again, this is just kind of following along what the video just did. And then I'm going to put this video up in just some minutes. What's up, friend?